Welcome back everybody, it's Kathy and Rosie Vesperina. So today's ride is a continuation, because it's not actually a ride today, it's the continuation from the previous ride. But this time, when we finished the last one, we finished off at Biker's Attic. And then the plan was to go to the national park and do a ride around the national park to get a bit of experience in that kind of environment. And so we did that. We rode from Biker's Attic to the park and rode around a little bit and saw the beautiful scenery there, and then had some had coffee. Actually, I think we had the coffee beforehand. But what happened was, for some reason, I had set the camera up all upside down, and so it was filming in portrait mode. And so when I went to look back at the video, I realised I had buggered it up. And so that whole footage from Biker's Attic to the coffee shop to have a coffee, I wasn't able to use that. And then the ride after the coffee shop to the national park and through the national park, I wasn't able to use that footage either. And then the final bit was the ride from the national park to Norah Head, where we had lunch, and that was also in portrait and just filmed in a wonky way. I couldn't recover it back to the way it needed to be. So that was really unfortunate. So luckily, whatever I did with the camera after that, I fixed it. So now this is the ride from Norah Head, where we had lunch, up to Crackneck Lookout. So this is a nice ride, again through bushland. We have so much beautiful bushland on the coast that we're able to ride through. We're very, very lucky. The ride is, as the other one was, with 7 other people. I think there's 3 or 4 of us that are learners, and the others are really great riders who gave us hints and tips throughout the day. One of the challenges that we had in the national park was that some of the road had been recently gravelled. They were fixing up the roads, and so I hadn't ridden on that kind of surface before, and I found it really tricky. And so the ladies thankfully gave us some hints about keeping in the tyre tracks where there is less gravel, and so that was really helpful. I did have a little bit of an oops though. We were going up a little bit of a hill, not a steep hill. The person that was leading, I think, may have stalled, and obviously the next person then slowed down, and I slowed down, but I think I panicked a little bit and went off to the side, the left hand side, and into the gravel, and then my back tyre went off the road a little bit and just off onto a little ledge, down onto a little ledge. It wasn't much, like it's probably 15-20 centimetres the lip, but it was enough for my back wheel to get a little bit stuck there, and then when I revved the throttle a little bit, the back wheel spun because it was stuck in the gravel. So I had to just take a moment and slow myself down, and eventually was able to move it out of that and back onto the road. But it was a really good lesson for me to experience what riding on the gravel felt like. It feels a lot less stable, and the other hint that we were given was there were a lot of potholes in the road as well, and they said sometimes on that really gravelly sort of surface, it's actually better to wear the bumps, to go over the bumps and the potholes, rather than try and swerve around them all on the gravel, because you're more likely to potentially have a bit of a fall because the gravel is so unstable. So they were really good hints, and I will never forget those hints. I thought they were terrific. The ride, other parts of the ride through the national park were lovely. There were some corners there. There was some runners on the road who were doing a marathon or a 10K, I'm not sure. So they were a little bit of an obstacle as well, but we managed to avoid them. And then we got to a car park that just had an amazing view out over the beach. And the national park is the one that has the Fraser campground, which I've actually camped at before, and it's lovely. It's very sparse in terms of amenities, but it's just lovely because you can just walk onto the beach from there. So a great spot, and hardly anybody there, so we kind of had the beach area and view to ourselves, which was lovely. So now we are heading over the bridge to the entrance, another bridge which I love. This one's a long one, and you can see on the left hand side and the right hand side is kind of the inlet, and the beach is on our far left. The entrance is a really popular holiday place for people to come to play in the beach and have a bit of a look around. When we get off the bridge, the usual way that I travel back to Gosford is turning right at this roundabout, and I don't know any other way, but today we went a different way. We went straight through, which meant we went through the town, which was good because I'd not gone in that direction before. You learn something new every day. I think the right turn puts us on to potentially the Central Coast Highway, as opposed to the road that we're travelling on now, which is just one of the streets in town. And this is the intersection at the entrance. The entrance isn't, although it's a touristy place and advertised as touristy, it seems to have quietened down quite a lot. I don't know why, but yeah, it used to be a lot busier than it is now, which is unfortunate. Look at that sky, it's just so beautiful. I think that the camera actually adjusts for the highlights really well, because the sky isn't really overexposed at all, and it shows all the detail of the clouds, which I think just looks beautiful. Plenty of lovely trees. You can see on the GPS, the Garmin on Rosie, that to our left is the beach. So we're following the coast all the way up. There's a caravan park on our left just here, but we are following the coast all the way up to Crackneck Lookout. We're doing this ride on a Saturday, and I was really surprised about how few cars were on the road given it was a Saturday. And I think by this time it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and pretty quiet on the roads. I don't seem to be as bothered with the level of traffic on the roads anymore. As I've said lots of times in other videos, it's usually just the roundabouts that still feel a bit funky for me, depending on how big they are. But just being in the traffic generally doesn't bother me too much. But this crazy house on the left there, I don't know whether it was a house or a club or something, but it was a funny shape and colour. I have probably one more video that I will make from this bigger ride, and the next one will be from Crackneck to home, out through Batto Bay and through Womberl and Erina, but that will be in the next video. So when we get to Crackneck, I leave the rest of the riders behind, and Marie, who I mentioned in the previous video, lives near me. She and I and her husband will then continue to ride on back down the coast to the Gosford area where we all live. I think for me the key to riding in groups like this is keeping that distance. I found sometimes I'd creep up a little bit too close to the person in front of me, and that means that I'm kind of adjusting my speed to suit their speed rather than riding at a speed and a style that I'm comfortable with. So that's a really good takeaway for me, to hold back a bit and ride at the speed and the style that I feel comfortable at, and allowing plenty of space in front of me to be able to do that. Every ride I do, I learn something new about myself or about riding in a group, but this is the biggest group that I've ridden in. So, you know, for a first time, it's been great. And as I said, great people, really supportive ladies, plenty of hints and tips to help us, and you know, nothing's too much trouble. I'm so lucky to have found the group. So we're in Batto Bay now, and we're getting closer to where we turn off to head up to Crackneck. Still plenty of lovely trees and still beautiful sky behind the trees. I've lived on the coast, I think I've said before, for about 30-ish years, and before that in other country towns and in Sydney, but this is my favourite. So plenty of speed bumps heading up to Crackneck now. So this is the road that leads us up to the top. And it's really interesting. I've been up to Crackneck so many times, but I've never driven and obviously never ridden up there before. Every time I've come up here, I actually start at Shelley Beach car park and I walk from there up. There's a great bush track to our left that takes you from Shelley Beach, or you can actually join it in a few different locations, but I always start at Shelley Beach, and takes you up through that bush land hugging the coast, and you pop out just at the top. It's a great walk. It's not too strenuous. I mean, it gets your heart rate up a bit, but it's not too strenuous, so that's worthwhile doing. The other thing that's different for me coming up here is that this car park wasn't like this potentially the last time I was up here, although I've told it's been like this for 12 months. So this was all just gravel and dirt and people parked wherever they wanted to, but now it's a proper car park, so it's lovely. It's a little tight. So we left our bikes there at the top, and we've just come to just take in the views. You can see the beach ahead of us, Shelley Beach. People enjoying being up here. It was a little windy, and there were lots of people. You can see Rosie just on the right there. There were lots of people up here doing a bit of whale watching, which is what we did at the other location in the previous video. On the right here, you can I don't know what it's called, paraglide off the edge there if the winds are right. It's not something I would do. Look at that sky, wowzers. What a view. I didn't see any whales, but that's okay. So thank you for watching.